Let's go. Welcome everybody. Oh, this is a hot one. Right at go, we have 75 people climbing here.
Wow.
I am so hyped to be here because apparently everybody shows up for hot takes and whatnot. And just framing this a bit, we are here because of Seamless.ai, our sponsor for this hot take series. I'm Jared, co-founder of Rev Genius, and I'm joined with two incredible guests, both Dale and Chelsea. You all want to give a line introducing yourselves and what makes you so qualified to have a hot take?
Dale, you want to start? Oh, I think he's frozen.
That
All right, I will start then. I'm the founder of Close. I've been teaching B2B sales and marketing teams how to sell on LinkedIn for 8 years. I've been selling myself on LinkedIn for 15 years and in sales for 20.
Awesome. Oop. And I will try to go. I have some internet connections, but I will try to go. Can everybody hear me?
totally.
Awesome. Dale Zwinski. I am co-founder of Revenue Reimagined. We've been helping companies with go-to-market for the last 2 years. I've been in sales for longer than I want to admit, and just happy to talk about outbound, cold email, what's happening in the market. So super pumped to be here.
And we're at like 102, 103 people, 2 minutes in. This is getting rowdy. Everybody, quickly drop your LinkedIn links in the comments. Like this is a time to connect. I think people go to webinars, they don't connect enough with each other. Like
Mhm.
drop a link. You have 30 seconds to sell whatever you're going to sell in the chat and then stop it, right? When I say sell, tell what you do, which inadvertently is selling. This whole episode is on hot takes. And I'm going to go through about 3 or 4 questions. These two incredibly amazing folks are going to tell us their hot takes. We're going to have some, we're going to ask you for your hot takes in the process. Definitely be active in the comments. Put your hot takes for each thing. Maybe I'll even chime in. What makes me qualified to be here? I've been in sales probably my whole life, son of a salesperson. I've seen it evolve. I was one of the first doing LinkedIn before my managers back in the day told me to pick up the phone and call. I'm sure some of you might have been part of that, yet you can book meetings every which way. So let's jump in to this. I'm going to share my screen. Cold email is dead. Long live LinkedIn DMing. Oh my gosh, there's so much stuff here on the right side. I mean, that's cold email is dead. Yeah, it was funny. I made a comment before. Cold email is not dead. You just need to send 47,000 of them and have them all delivered, right? Okay. So hot take number one, you two. Cold emailing is a waste of time. And before we go into this, here's an interesting stat: 91.5% of all outreach emails are ignored. A recent study revealed that over 40% of consumers have at least 50 unread emails in their inbox. Before we go in here, Dale, how many unread emails do you have in your inbox right now?
Oh, let me take a look. It depends on what inbox, but I am looking right now and 123.
Chelsea, what about yourself?
I'm not so bad. I'm at like 8 right now, but I also manage multiple inboxes, so I'm not
And
gonna total all of them.
and I'm at 30 myself. I will say that I maintain a healthy 21. There's like my inbox zero is 21. I don't know where those 21 emails are at the moment, but I probably should. But all right, Chelsea, cold emailing is a waste of time. What's your hot take? And everybody in the audience, put your hot takes in the chat as we go.
Yeah, so I feel qualified to speak on this. So, Close, my company, we actually did a lot of done for you cold email outreach in the early days when automation was very new. So, using tools like Mailstand, Lemlist, I think it's not dead. It's that people need to adjust their expectations. It has changed. It is now more so a tool for generating awareness, more top of the funnel. Your buyers typically won't go from a cold email directly to a meeting booked on Calendly. So just adjust the expectations.
So yeah, talk about the new way that
Yeah,
you're
let's
seeing.
talk about it. So, why we do social selling now, my company, instead of just all this done for you cold email outreach and LinkedIn outreach, is because the way people buy today has changed. And as a company, you need to consider how your buyer is purchasing. So, when it comes to cold email, going back to it being top of the funnel awareness, when someone does get that email, and let's say they do open it on a rare chance, that prospect will then go to the LinkedIn profile of the person who sent it and do their own research. So buyers today are 70% through the buying decision based on their own research before they book a call, and they consume around like 13 pieces of content. So again, the funnel is changing, and you just need to be aware of that.
Absolutely.
Dale,
So agree.
what are you
Yeah,
seeing?
my hot take on this is like cold emailing is a waste of time if you don't have like really good marketing people. I always see sales and marketing as like the yin and yang. So marketing needs to be the 30,000 foot air cover while sales is the infantry. And a lot of our clients struggle with cold emailing because they have no market awareness. And so if you have zero market awareness, you will not have success in emailing, cold DMing, whatever it is. Like they need to work together. We've been saying this, I don't know, for 10 years, 15 years, like sales and marketing together. But now more than ever, you're not going to get anything landing in an inbox, and probably because you are emailing out of your current domain, which I wish Jesse Olette was in here because he'd be like all over that part. But I think cold emailing is dead if you are not using a marketing, if you don't have a really good marketer on the other side of you.
Yeah, my 2 cents are, if you're going to send 1,000 cold emails, it's not even going to land, right? So when I say land in that inbox, if you're doing it at the same day. So there's aspects of cold email that are objectively dead because Google will not allow that in. Like that's not even an argument. Like you do that 3 days in a row. Tell me anybody that makes it to day four. I'd be shocked if they made it that far. So that's kind of like an objective thing. Now, if you're following other people's playbooks and you don't know who your clients are and you're spraying and praying, like I think it's probably not going to be effective. Um, everybody lands one sometime, and to these other two fine folks' point, having like a cohesive strategy with it is everything. Um, Another way I've seen cold email used, like in conjunction with marketing, that I thought was like really cool and interesting. I knew Demand Gen owning outbound email, and essentially they would send an email to their whole ICP, and the personas that they spoke to, based on, and they would watch open rates and interaction. And I know we say like you should turn off open rates and stuff, but humor me on this. Um, People that opened or clicked through, they would create ad audiences with them, right? Because these people had a level of intent. We don't know if it's a lot of intent, but there's a level. And the people that clicked through the ad audiences, in addition to this, that would be the list that they would give the SDRs to cold call, right? Because
Yeah, but the only
there's
thing
certainly
I'd say to
level of
that,
intent.
the only thing I'd say to that, Jared, is like there's so many smart email servers now that just like auto open stuff as well. Like you'll see it with your
True.
newsletter, right? All of a sudden you'll send your newsletter out and you'll get like all these opens or all these clicks, and you're like, there's no way 2 seconds after I send out my newsletter, like everything's open. And so like I think
Yeah.
it's false positives that are happening. And like if we're reporting on that crap, like you should just not report on it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
actually have
and
to second that. Like, I this drives me crazy when I talk to marketing departments who are so attached to that number. I'm like, these are bots on the other end opening your emails. Like, stop patting yourself in the back. It's not working. But I do agree, you need domains. That's the one thing that like you need to have multiple domains, like 10 plus domains, 2 to 3 email inboxes per domain. I mean, we were doing this in the early days, but even more so now. Yeah, you can send like 50 a day per email inbox. It's slim, so you have to
tops.
multiply the domains and the inboxes.
Cool. So we dove into this one, and I agree. Reply rates are the ultimate, or I guess meaning book rates. Um, but in that example, and it was a different time. Like things are evolving to the detriment of an email seller every quarter. It seems like it's getting like progressively harder. So open rates fine. Q1 of 2024, Q1 of 2025. Yeah, to your point, it's done. All right, hot take number two. People still, did they ever, prefer to be contacted by sales reps through email. So 80% of people prefer to be contacted by sales reps through email, but also 361.6 billion emails are forecasted to be sent in 2025. Whoa. How many of those emails are sent to people that want to receive them?
I don't know. My personal email probably has 10,000 unread because I just like sit there and put in all the junk stuff. You know,
I know.
what we need to figure out as a sales world is how are we delivering value? Like if you're like the problem right now with all of what you're just saying is a lot of these are just AI generated emails that are getting sent out. And if you have really crappy strategy on bringing value to people and you just pour fire on it by AI, like it's just going to be more of the same crap. And that's why Google's putting a lot of filters on and spam filters. So we need to do better as organizations. And actually, I think it starts at leadership because, at a leadership, at a sales leadership level, we're like, there's this concept of more is better. And it's like, that's not true. It's like more good value email outreach, DM, social content, social engagement is really where you want to be. Communicating in communities and having conversations like going in just because you send out 400 emails in a day and your reply rate is 0.001% and you get like excited about it, like that's not good.
What do you think, Chelsea? Big question.
I am I am with you. I
Yeah.
think the whole way that leadership thinks about sales needs to shift. This idea that just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? Like it's like something I catch myself saying to reps and to leadership all the time. Like just because you can blast 1,000 emails doesn't mean you should. Like you're don't do it. But this is where social selling really comes in. How do people want to be connected with? How do they want to build a relationship? I still think your best bet is LinkedIn, like commenting on posts, creating your own content, doing a little bit of a pull method, and earning the right to then go into someone's inbox or then go even into someone's phone and text them. Like each person's going to be different. I mean, that's the way it is, but there needs to be stuff before that for you to get the right to even go and bother them in any inbox, like in any shape or form.
So the comments on LinkedIn, now this is, as with any tactic, that was super potent, right? Like at a time, and now it's potent for some,
Mhm.
for others, not so much. It becomes inauthentic when it's part of a playbook that you're executing. I mean, like how do you differentiate that, right? Like you're sending an email. These are all interactions with humans. Like if you're having an interaction in a place that's actually more likely to be seen, which LinkedIn is versus email, um, how do you interact appropriately, like without seeming like I'm following a play? And this isn't even including the AI bots that are all over
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
This is assuming a human's doing it.
You have to be detached and like, leadership doesn't want to hear that, but there needs to be a level of freedom that each rep has to just go build authentic relationships and trust that that compounding effort will pay off over time. Not everything can be a playbook. Some things are, right? Some things are. Um, but there needs to be a shift. There just needs to be a shift. Like you have to have your reps focused on creating their own content, right? Like it's not just about other people, it's also what are you doing to pull people in?
Yeah, what do you think about the LinkedIn comments?
Well, I think those are being AI driven as well a lot now, so I think that
Yeah.
is tricky. Once again, whether it's email or LinkedIn comments or engagement, it's all about being genuine, right? Like if you're
Mhm.
genuine and you're putting in thoughtful comments and you're having conversations, it's all just becoming so much noise. And I think from a selling perspective, where we're seeing the most value is through communities, through your network. So like really create a really strong network for yourself. And then those emails will land in the inbox because you are getting introductions into the right people. Like now all of a sudden now you go from cold emails into warmer emails, and that will drive that value. I mean, this is like sales 101 stuff that we've been doing
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
ages. And I mean, look at me, I have gray in my beard because I've been doing it for so long. But it's like all the way back to the beginning of, original sales stuff. And so
Mhm.
um, get back to fundamentals and basics and stop trying to like find an easy button for this stuff.
Yeah, and to build on this, I just want to say like having business acumen and like understanding where you could actually help them, not where you think. You'd be shocked at how many people reach out to me. Well, reach out to me for having a Shopify store. That's a whole nother thing. I have like a Shopify site that maybe somebody bought a Rev Genius shirt like 3 years ago, Dale, right? Like, okay, fine, we'll put that over here. Um, but they reach out to me and they're saying how they could help me. And I ask them a simple question. I say, how do I make money? And that stumps 90 fucking percent of people. And if you don't know how that person makes money, one, figure it out or find out. If your product helps them save money or make money or whatever, you don't know how they're doing it. Like, how are you going to have an interesting conversation with somebody that's a senior leader? I'm not even talking looking at all their stats and stuff, like and their public earnings reports. That's great. You do that, you're way ahead of the game. I think just like some simple acumen and understanding. And granted, we're a community, so like we're an edge case. Most people make money from selling their product.
Mhm.
Understood, but it really just enlightened me that like people aren't even diving into the research at all.
They also don't know the problem that their service or product solves for their buyer. I think that there's this book, Gap Selling by Keenan. And
Mhm.
like, I think it is like the best book because it's going to the exact point you're talking about. Like, they don't even, they can't communicate what they're selling. They don't understand their buyer. They don't know the problem they solve. So it's like you have to earn the right. Again, you need to understand these things before you just start blasting out messages, whether it's on LinkedIn, phone calls, or email.
And actually, Corey was
And
just mentioning something in
yeah,
the chat, and he said like, what happens if your buyers aren't on LinkedIn? And so that's a thing. Like some of my clients, their people aren't on LinkedIn. They're getting more phone calls. So like, get back on the phone, have conversations, get in person. So Corey was talking about blue collar workers that
Mhm.
we've been working with some people that it's like just go visit them where they are. It's a different strategy, and you're going to have to end up building maybe a different sales team that is like more localized and getting back out. But in person is like a real thing, especially in the blue collar world. So it is true. Like not everybody's on LinkedIn,
Mm-mm.
but meet your buyers where they are. Once again, like I'm gray. I've been in this game for a long time. Like it's back to 101. It's like where is your buyer? If they don't answer email, they pick up the phone, call them. If they don't pick up the
Right.
phone, but you can go bring them a box of donuts and some coffee. Like go do that. Like I'm in at one of my client sites right now, and when I coached originally when we were coaching, like he asked me like how are we going to get in front of people? I'm like where they work there. He's like they're blue collar. I'm like go get coffee and donuts and go on site and like have a conversation with them. And he went from 0 to 1.5 million in 12 months. Like, it's not rocket science. It's like that's what happens. Meet them where they are.
Yeah, I have a hot take that being more human is going to work better from this point on. And this point means like a year ago. It means actually all the time, but like we got lost along the way.
Yep.
Um, if you were the first to have a tactic, if you're the first to have outreach, it actually worked. You drew like a commonality, so to speak, with others. And when I say outreach, like the tool, be like, hey, I noticed you're in Florida. Dale, are you a Bucks fan? Like before Dale received 800 of those, he'd be like, I actually am a Bucks fan. This guy read my mind. Like, let's chat. And maybe Dale wouldn't say that, but if you sent that to 10 Dales, one of them would. And it was crazy, like your ratios. And then that tactic went. So, like, the thing that's not rinse and replaceable, what makes you different, what makes you unique, and have a normal conversation with somebody. Like,
Uh-huh.
just do that. Um, be curious, whatever. And I think that's like an unlock. It's always been an unlock. I mean, I sold FedEx for 7 years against UPS. The donut game is something I had to do before they believed I sold value. So I get that. Next question, and this is good. We are up to LinkedIn DM campaigns are not for B2B sales. Who are they for? So
Come on, Chelsea, this is you all day.
No, it's just like that's a weird comment. And I will say, even like, so one of my clients is a construction. They're like a construction company. They do roofing and they work with builders. And even them, like, yeah, it is blue collar, and they definitely need to get out on the field and drop donuts and baskets. But like, we are running a campaign. Like, I'm coaching them right now and training them, and they're doing campaigns, and they're at like 30% acceptance rates, and they're having conversations. So they like people are still on LinkedIn sometimes that you think aren't, but we'll just push that aside. I mean, yeah, B2B is where LinkedIn shines. So I don't know how this could even be a comment, like a hot take.
well, I think it's more of should you be using LinkedIn for selling?
That should be
Period.
like the center point. Like this should be the center point of your go-to-market strategy, and then everything else should branch out from there. Because if you are truly going to do human-centered sales, like and build real connections with people, that's the place to do it. You're not going to build connections cold calling and doing cold email, and even in-person networking events are few and far between. So if you want to build those real authentic connections, the only place right now is LinkedIn. I mean, 80% of leads for B2B sales come from LinkedIn, 50% of website traffic, right? Like reps that use LinkedIn have a 45% higher uh, close rate. So it's just like the stats are there, but I mean, I've lived it for 8 years, so I can tell you it works.
Yeah, I think the question, recalibrated should probably be like, because like when people pitch slap me or when I've never met them and they ask how I'm doing, I
Mhm.
just write back no because it's coming. And then like a pitch slap the first day or two is an automatic remove connection for me. Like I say thank you for your time. We're clearly not a fit. How can you best foster like a relationship with somebody that you want to sell to? Dale, what
Yeah,
do you
the
think?
other the other
Like
question
you
is
connect
like,
with somebody just because, yeah, you want to sell to them. Let's be
there's
real.
so many the challenge with with LinkedIn is like you get have so many connections. Like, I don't know, I don't have as many
Mhm.
as you, but like you can't really have real relationships with like 15,000 people. Like that's just not like it's not realistic. The question becomes for me on LinkedIn is how do you segment it into helping other people as well? Like we forget this process of like being open and on and helping other people. So we're always thinking like internally, like what can I do? How can I get information versus like how can I help others? And so I think there's platforms and technologies that are out there now that are helping make connections um, into other connections that you have outside of LinkedIn. It could be through email, could be through calendars, could be through like real solid connections. So I think LinkedIn from a DM perspective can be useful and helpful if you are doing engagement, kind of like what Chelsea was saying earlier. Like it's not about sending a DM and having like a B2B strategy outbound campaign that way. It's more about like how do you engage with the people you want to engage with before you start DMing them. Like the process of outbound campaigning happens way before you send one DM. And I think that's where people get it wrong.
But
Yeah,
it's
what are you
more
saying,
than that
Chelsea?
too. Like you can so this is the other misconception, right? Like you build a relationship through your own content, liking their content, and you detach that way, right? And you just build that on the side. But like what I teach is you are sending 20 connection requests per day to your ideal customer profile, right? Like that is
Mhm.
happening. When they accept, you then go and you research, you look at their profile, you understand them, and then you can go out and ask them, like you could say, hey, I saw this post on blah blah blah, I went down the rabbit hole on your company a bit, just curious, and ask them a question. It's how you do it. You're not pitch slapping, you're not throwing your calendar at people, you're asking a quick question, and you'd be surprised how many people will respond to that quick question. And then you can just build a quick relationship in the DMs and have a DM text chat. You're pre-qualifying them in the DMs. If there is a need, then you can move it to a meeting, and then you're in discovery call stage, proposal, all of that. But before that, you actually can, like, you can have a lot of relationships, quick ones, developed, and then follow each other's like content journey, right? Because their content will be pushed to you, yours will be pushed to them. So, I mean, I'll tell you, I burned down my entire connections. Like I literally lit them on fire. I started last year, like 16
What
months ago.
what
Yeah.
program did you use to do that at scale? Everybody probably wants to
Link,
know first
LinkedIn
off.
Helper. All right, I'm going to give away my secrets. LinkedIn Helper.
Okay.
And I set it up to automate to remove the people each week. And I did it in a way where it wouldn't trigger anything on LinkedIn. Um, but I built
That's
up
what's up.
like, I'm at 12,000 now. So what is it, like 10,000 probably around in 1 year of followers. And I would say like out of them, because I've been really, like, I really have been very intentional. I've had like hundreds of conversations in the DMs, not necessarily like on the phone. I would hate that. But like in the DMs with the right people in this format, just pre-qualifying them, seeing, inviting them to an event, or like liking something on their posts and learning about them and their dog. Like it's like that happens over the course of a year. You can do that. Can't do it 10,000 times, but you could do it with like 500 people. And if you could do that, like how would that change your business?
It would change their business quite a bit. I would add the word thoughtful. Asking a thoughtful question, we've all had a GIF of where we went to college or something, like, come
Yeah.
across. Um, that's actually more thoughtful than 99% of the stuff, which is kind of funny. But if you could ask something even more thoughtful, like, it just opens a door. Like, at the end, we're all human. Any closing remarks, y'all? I want to be conscious of time. Like, this was action packed 3 questions here.
I think for me, I think um, there's three things I always like to leave people with. One is like be super thoughtful, kind of like what you're just saying. Make sure you're being completely genuine and almost a little bit vulnerable as you're coming across when you're having conversations with people, and then like help others. Like if you can do those three things, like that will all come full circle to you in whatever you're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Give value for free in your posts, teach people for free in your content, or, even in the DMs if people ask questions. And then don't be afraid to ask a question related to the product or service you sell. Just curious, are you guys using LinkedIn right now to generate business? That's okay. Like go in for the kill, but do it thoughtfully.
And make sure everybody connects with these wonderful panelists on
Mhm.
LinkedIn. If you put it's from the GTM hot takes, you have a higher chance of them accepting. And if you pitch slap them, they will unsubscribe. Thank you, everybody. Let's go. Let's have an awesome day. And thank you again to our sponsor, Seamless, who provides some of the best data in the space.